Hi guys, welcome to my fighter guide. In the video today I'm going to go ahead and show you a basic rotation, my class skill book, and my weapon skill book. I feel like a lot of the other guides online just kind of cover what the abilities do, but they don't really get into how to best utilize the class, and I'll show you how to do that today. Alrighty guys, and we'll just jump straight into the skill book here. I'm just going to cover the basic skills that you really need to make the class come online and to make everything just flow really nice. We're looking at Brutal Cleave, Lethal Blow, Whirlwind with both of its upgrades, Rupture, Maim with its upgrade, Battle Cry, Cataclysm, Berserk with its upgrade of course, and Blood Fusion. Beyond that, everything else is just kind of situational and or just helps us to get our combos up quicker. Really, it's just boils down to personal choice. Moving on over to the weapon skill tree, of course we want to take bleed for both the finisher and the extended finisher. We want to increase the chance for the bleed proc, and essentially we're just weaving in as much damage elsewhere as humanly possible. I like to take Executioner, so that way it scales really well with Lethal Blow whenever targets get low. And I also really like the Swordsmaster Swiftness to increase the attack speed. Jumping into the basic rotation here, I'm just going to go ahead and show a small example, single target wise, on this Griffin. You always want to start in Form of Ferocity, charge in, Brutal Cleave, Rupture, Lethal Blow, and then just settle into auto attacks for a little bit. I'm going to stance, apply stagger, trip, and then maim for the big damage. And then that's essentially the single target rotation. Of course, you want to weave in Blood Fusion whenever you start to get low on health and mana, and you just kind of cycle back and forth between those abilities, and whenever you reach 100 combat momentum, that's when you can work in Berserk and the other parts of the rotation. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like on a group of mobs, because typically speaking in solo encounters, you're probably not going to reach 100 combat momentum unless you're really pushing the envelope in what you're fighting. Alright, in this example I'll show you what the rotation looks like on a group of mobs. So you're going to Cataclysm into a main, Berserk into a double main, Battle Cry, a Whirlwind, and I like to pop Blood Fusion mid-Whirlwind. So that's when you have 100 combat momentum, and typically this will happen when you're fighting groups of mobs. It works best whenever you're doing this type of rotation with other people in the group, especially a tank that is applying stagger to everything already, so you don't have to do the stance in between to trip the mobs. So we'll just go ahead and watch again as I Cataclysm into a maim, Berserk, double maim, Battle Cry, and Whirlwind. And you just see me just stack and damage. I think it's a super simple rotation, super duper fun once you start getting into the ebb and flow of it. Typically keep my mana up pretty high as well because of that Blood Fusion. You can see that everybody else in the group is really low on mana, and I'm sitting at about half. And yeah, that's pretty much the rotation in the basics there. Alright, so here's a brief explanation of the rotation and kind of why we have it set up the way that we do. Brutal Cleave will apply bleed or stagger depending on the form that we are in at the time, and our weapon combo finishers refresh its cooldown. So that's why we prioritize using the auto attacks over trying to weave in whirlwinds whenever we're not in our Berserk form. Beyond that, of course, we use Rupture to turn the bleed into a hemorrhage, and then Lethal Blow gains 30% increased crit chance against hemorrhaged targets, so that's why we use that last. Whenever we're in our damage phase and we're about ready to dump all of our combat momentum, we Cataclysm the targets. If they're staggered, they become tripped. And then of course we maim, and maim does 20% additional damage to recently tripped targets. That's why we can Cataclysm, maim, berserk, refresh all of our cooldowns because of our talent, and then double maim for an extreme amount of damage. We work in the battle cry so that way we can apply weakened to all of the nearby enemies, and then of course we whirlwind, and whirlwind deals an additional 20% damage to weakened targets. The improved whirlwind allows us to drain combat momentum to keep spinning beyond the normal time. So we'll drastically drain all of our combat momentum with the berserk and the whirlwind going at the same time, but we're going to be doing an insane amount of damage, so it doesn't really matter. Blood fusion, of course, gives us health and mana back, and that's why we pop that during the whirlwind phase. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Please, if you have any feedback, please leave that in the comments. If you liked the video, like, and please subscribe. If this video does well and you guys really like these guides, I'll try and do more as new phases of the game comes out. I'm excited to keep playing, and I'll hopefully see you guys in another one. Peace.